Ladies and gentlemen, members of the jury, members of the Roll the Tape film crew, welcome to a special edition. Yes, this is the Sunday night special edition of the Roll the Tape podcast. I want to say welcome to all of you. I know most of you were thinking to yourselves probably, what is Manager Marty doing on a Sunday night getting on live? But this is a special, very special edition. So I want to salute everyone in the chat that has been acknowledging me. Thank you for all of your viewership. I welcome each and every last one of you for kicking it with me this evening, joining me live here. Um, this has been a great weekend for boxing. This has been a great weekend for all of us. Great weekend for boxing. Great weekend for boxing. Of course, Ryan Garcia falls in the seventh round by knockout uh, by the hands of Gervonta Tank Davis from a body shot. And what a fight. What a fight. We're going to do a reaction to that fight. We're going to do a recap of the fight here tonight. We have some preliminaries to deal with this evening. I'm excited. I'm so excited to be here tonight. This is a special edition. If you're just joining the live broadcast, this is a special edition to the Manager Marty Roll the Tape podcast. And I appreciate all of you coming out. If you're watching the live replay of this broadcast, I welcome you as well. Usually we do our Town Watch check-in, but because this is a special edition, this is our Sunday night special edition, we will not do our Town Watch check-in, but come back here Tuesday evening for that podcast uh, live in living color here, and of course Friday evening. But Tuesday evening, we'll do all of the preliminaries that we usually do. And then we have some panelists that are going to join us Tuesday evening. Because if you were joining us Friday evening, and then last month, you recall BBO boxing, you recall detail boxing, you recall, I think Dose 513 was here with us. You also recall Crown Jewel boxing. They all were here on the panel Friday night, and BVO told us last month, and he told us again on Friday, that he wants some of those same panelists to come back on the live stream here on the Roller Tape podcast with Manager Marty on Tuesday evening, because he wanted them to say how wrong they were. That's right, how wrong they were when Ryan Garcia stops Tank Davis. Of course, that didn't happen. So tune in Tuesday evening when all of those panelists are scheduled to rejoin the podcast on this channel, and they're going to basically hash it out because Gervonta Tank Davis actually came out victorious. Salute the Chicken Talk. He is also in the chat. Thank you for your viewership, Chicken Talk. I always take the opportunity when I see other content creators in the chat to be able to welcome them and salute them and acknowledge my fellow content creators. We have some business that we have to deal with this evening. We have a great show in this special Sunday night edition of the Roll the Tape podcast with Manager Marty. We have basically the judges' scorecards. We got to talk about that. Yeah, we have to discuss that. We definitely have to discuss that, and I want to let the cat out the bag right now. I know one of the judges. I don't know him very well. I'm not going to say I know him to a point where we hang out, but I do know him. I have had several conversations with him in person and on the phone. I actually tried to get him on the phone earlier today, uh, so that I could ask him some questions so we can dialogue about not just his scorecards, but just some other particulars about judging. Because as you all know, he was one of the judges that scored the fight for um, Tank Davis versus Ryan Garcia, and his name is Steve Weisfield. So I will talk um, a little bit about who he is, uh, my relationship with him in the sport of boxing, and we're going to deal with this scorecard right here that says what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. We're going to deal with that in a short period. This is a special edition, Sunday night special edition of Roll the Tape podcast with Manager Marty. And we're going to deal with all of that this evening. I will not hold you all long because this is a special edition, but I want to see engagement in the chat. I want to see us engage about what we saw last night. For some of us that did see the fight, many of you, I assume that you did see the fight. And we're going to engage in that in the chat. If you're watching a replay of this live, um, you know, hey, comment in the comment section. Let's hear what your take is about the fight. Let's hear what your take is about this live broadcast that we're going to bring up some topics on, and I look forward to it. I am excited to talk about boxing with all of you this evening. Thank you for your time. Welcome to all of you in the chat. Welcome to you as a viewer, and of course, if you are a subscriber to this channel, thank you very much for your support. If you are not a subscriber to this channel, I encourage you to subscribe for quality content moving forward. And of course, if you don't know this, I will reiterate this. I provide the business perspective on this channel to provide entertainment and education for all of you. I'm excited that we're here live tonight. Let's move on with the broadcast real quick. Let me do this because I know there are people here that want to support the channel and that have been supporting the channel. So at the bottom of your screen, you see the Cash App. Uh, that's the name of the Cash App. Feel free to contribute to the channel if you are led. Um, if you want to contribute to the channel by way of super thanks, super chat, or super sticker, please feel free. It is greatly, greatly appreciated. I will acknowledge you this evening when you do so. Of course, all of your contributions benefit this channel so that I can enhance the quality visually and audibly, so that you can enjoy a better experience every time you come onto the channel. And of course, the time that it takes for me to do certain published content. I appreciate all of your support. So let's move right along. So first things first, right? The thing about it is this: I don't know if anyone else reported on this. So on when I say anyone else, I'm specifically referring to other content creators. But I stumbled over this a few days ago from Boxing News 24, where Eddie Hearns basically came out in an interview and he basically said that Tyson Fury will defend his WBC title against Andy Ruiz on July 22nd. Now, we've heard for weeks on end that Andy Ruiz is going to basically take on Deontay Wilder. We don't know that to be true because we hear Eddie Hearns talking about Tyson Fury will take on Andy Ruiz. And we've also been hearing little whispers that Deontay Wilder might possibly fight Anthony Joshua in Saudi Arabia. That is what the whispers are saying. But according to Eddie Hearn, though, he's basically saying that Tyson Fury will defend that WBC crown against Andy Ruiz on July 22nd. I don't know if that's true or not. Let's talk about it real quick. Um, Stylistically speaking, I just don't see this fight being filled with entertainment. salute to everybody again in the chat that's acknowledging me. Thank you so much for your viewership and your support. Um, because Tyson Fury, of course, we know he is um, an outstanding boxer. You know, to be a heavyweight, very outstanding boxer. And usually, Andy Ruiz is the boxer. Like when he was fighting, Chris Areola, when he fought Anthony Joshua, even when he fought Louis Ortiz, Andy Ruiz has a lot of good boxing skills as well. But I just don't see how both of those styles, stylistically will match up against each other, Tyson Fury and Andy Ruiz. Because Tyson Fury will obviously have to be the aggressor in this fight, because it's pretty much hard for me to see Ruiz backing him up, such as Wilder did a good job doing with Fury, because of course Fury will be the bigger man that night. So, I don't know if the fight's going to happen, but I mean, like, even if it does, happen, what is your take on it? Let me know in the comment section below if you're watching the replay of this live. And if you're here joining us live, feel free to comment in the chat. What do y'all think about Tyson Fury fighting Andy Ruiz? I mean, do y'all think that that's an entertaining fight? Do you think that Andy Ruiz should fight Wilder since they're all around the same representation? Do you think Tyson Fury should fight Usyk to basically figure out who's going to be the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world? What's your take on it in the chat? Let's air fry on that just for a few minutes, because we got some more unfinished business to deal with tonight. So, what's your take on that fight? Um, Me personally, I would love to see Andy Ruiz and somebody like a Deontay Wilder, or Deontay Wilder against Anthony Joshua, since he does have a new trainer, and since they'll be working on more technique, hopefully. I want to see Tyson Fury take on Usyk for all the belts. I think those are the three fights in the heavyweight division that seems more lucrative from a business standpoint, number one, and number two, from a stylistic standpoint. You know, that's just my take on it. What say all of you? Um, we shall see. We definitely shall see. And boxing is back on the rise. Boxing is definitely back on the rise, and it's all about the best fighting the best. That's what we always hear. That's what we always want in boxing. From a fan's perspective, the best fights the best. But in that, of course, we understand that there is a business involved with boxing. And that's why I always take pride in discussing the elements and dynamics involved with regards to the business of boxing, and then, of course, the sport of boxing. I like to categorize both of them independently if you are new to this channel. Um, so we shall see if this fight really is taking place. I mean, I haven't really heard any fan, you know, um, identify Tyson Fury as a person that will lose to somebody like an Andy Ruiz, even though we respect Andy Ruiz now. Got to respect him. He is a former champion, and he has great, great footwork, great boxing skills. I just don't see him having enough to keep Fury off of him. And of course, we know Andy Ruiz doesn't have the best chin in the heavyweight division. His punch resistance is a little bit suspect, to say the least. We've seen him get dropped in almost most of his fights after the Joshua fight. The couple of fights, matter of fact, he fought I think last year he fought Chris Areola, and he got dropped. So I can't even imagine him getting hit by a Fury or getting hit by a Wilder. Of course, if he get hit by a Wilder, I really don't see him kind of getting back up. But then again, he has enough boxing skills and great footwork to disrupt the timing of the right hand of Wilder. So I think that is an intriguing fight too. no doubt about that. But at the same time, there's nothing wrong with him fighting. And there's nothing wrong with Tyson Fury. I'm saying fighting Usyk. There's nothing wrong with Andy Ruiz fighting Joshua. Again, it's not wrong. There's nothing wrong with them fighting 3 times. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with Andy Ruiz fighting Wilder, and there's nothing wrong with, of course, Joshua finally fighting Wilder. So all of these guys, hey, it's nothing wrong with Wilder fighting Usyk. Who said Wilder can't fight Usyk? You know what I mean? Hey, you know, hey, everybody can fight everybody. Those four guys, those 4 or 5 of them actually. Tyson Fury, Andy Ruiz, Wilder, Joshua, and then Usyk. All 5 of them guys can get it on. Salute to everybody in the chat. Salute to everyone in the chat. I see the numbers and the viewership increasing exponentially. I welcome all of the new viewers that are just joining us right now. And yes, Toon, I see you in the chat. Frank Sanchez, up and coming heavyweight. He does a tremendous job. He is an extraordinary boxer puncher. Frank Sanchez. Watch out for Frank Sanchez, y'all. Watch out for him. For real, for real. Watch out for big baby, Jared Anderson too. Yeah, watch out for these 2 guys, Frank Sanchez and Jared. Watch out for those guys. They up and coming. They on a rise now. They on a rise. So yeah, I agree. Yep. Yep. Watch out for them. But I mean the top 5, those guys that are pay-per-view stars, those 5 guys that I mentioned, they have exposure to a pay-per-view audience. So that's why I'm using those 5 guys first, besides Sanchez and Anderson. Yeah, so let's get it on. Morrell versus Benavidez. I mean, me personally, I like Morrell. I mean, he did fight a guy who was 37 years old last night. He looked pretty good as he should have. I just don't think he's ready for Benavidez just yet. Just yet. Not yet. He's still a little green, but the thing I like about it is he is getting that exposure. You see, I always tell y'all, and I'll say it again tonight, a pay-per-view audience is different from a live broadcast audience. Let me give you an example. Let's use Terrence Crawford as a classic example. Let's say Terrence Crawford fought on ESPN a lot of times, right? His numbers, and this is not just me saying this is what his numbers are. It's all public record. You all can research this. Terrence Bud Crawford does very, very well on ESPN, the regular live broadcast. I think he shoots up about 1 million views, 1 million live views. That's actually a good fan base, a good viewership. But of course, his pay-per-view numbers are not that good compared to other pay-per-view stars. So it's a different type of audience. So I'm glad that David Morrell is getting exposed to a pay-per-view audience so that they can continue to build him up. You know what I mean? So that they continue to build him up and get him used to and acclimated to that pay-per-view audience. So if they do say, okay, your next step up in competition will be somebody like a Benavidez who just found himself exposed to a pay-per-view audience for the first time too. You see? So you got to build these fighters up. This is how the business of boxing actually works. Fighters have to be built up. And so one of the great ways to build a fighter up and expose them to that pay-per-view audience is to basically put them on the undercards of major pay-per-views so that they can get that exposure so that when it's time for them to get it in and fight another pay-per-view exposed fighter, then that's when the fan base increases, and that's when all the eyes are on those fighters, and that's when the money rakes in, and that's when the promotion is ready to explode. So that's just how the business of boxing work. Since I mentioned Terrence Bud Crawford's name already, that just helps me segue into the point that I have made earlier in this week. I've already made the point because Steven Espinosa, as most of you already know, and I actually reiterated this on my channel earlier this week, uh, he actually conducted an interview with Fight Hype and Fight Hub TV. I believe it was on Wednesday, a few days ago this week, Wednesday. And he basically said that the Crawford versus Spence announcement will not happen on the live pay-per-view broadcast of Tank Davis versus Ryan Garcia. And guess what? He was correct. There was no announcement. Maybe there was an announcement and I didn't hear it. But there was no announcement. Crawford versus Spence was not announced. It wasn't announced. I didn't hear it. Did y'all? Did y'all hear the announcement that they're going to fight in June? Or they're going to fight, period? Did you all hear that? Because I didn't. And that's what we were waiting for. We were waiting to hear, you know, whether or not Crawford versus Spence was going to be announced on the pay-per-view live broadcast. And it wasn't. And Steven Espinosa said it wasn't going to be. Though he did say most likely it wouldn't happen. But of course, if they signed the contract that night, which was Wednesday night, then it's a great possibility that, they can announce it. But it wasn't announced. Not saying the fight's not going to happen. That's not what I'm saying. I already told y'all my take on that. And if you haven't heard me before, I'm going to say it again right now publicly. I've already made a public appeal, but I'm going to do it again right now, live and living color. I will not believe this fight will happen between Crawford and Spence until both fighters finish stepping on the scale on Friday night, the night before they actually supposed to fight on Saturday. If they fight on a Saturday night, which most likely, if they do fight, they will fight on Saturday night, I will not believe that the fight actually happens until both Crawford and Spence step off of the scales at the official weigh-in. But you want to know why? Because when they step off the scales, that's when the promoter is obligated to pay both fighters. I know most of y'all didn't know that's how it works, but that's how it works in boxing. Okay? Both fighters get paid after both fighters meet the contractual obligation at the official weigh-in. All right? Now, I won't believe that that fight will happen until both fighters make weight, step off the scale. Then I'll believe that, okay, tomorrow they're going to really fight. Until then, I won't believe that they're going to fight. And guess what? I'm just giving you my opinion. So I'm saying all of this to say, please don't expect me to come back on here and apologize and say, oh, I was wrong, because I'm giving you my opinion. I didn't say it's a fact that the fight's not. I've been saying this. If you go back on the first video I did on this channel about that whole Crawford versus Spence debacle from the very beginning, which was nearly 6 months ago in October of 2022, I have been consistent about every single thing that I'm saying, even up until today. People that are watching me live right now, people that are watching me live right now, who have been a part of the Roll the Tape Film Crew membership since I have started rolling the tape on this channel, will agree with me and attest to the fact that I've been very consistent about everything I've said about this whole fight from the very beginning. So I'm not going to start switching up my pitch, ever going to do that. So, I'm only saying that to basically piggyback off the fact that the fight was not announced last night, but we've been hearing over and over again that this fight would be announced. We've been hearing that in the press. We've been hearing that on YouTube. We've been hearing that in the media, nationally. We've been hearing it. So that's the whole key. That is the whole key to what we're talking about this evening. Now, with that being said, okay, we have to deal with the fight last night. We have to deal with it now. What is your take? Tell me in the chat now. Let's talk about it. Let's engage real quick. Tell me if you're watching the replay of this live in the comments section. Please tell me. Let's engage. What is your take on what happened last night between Gervonta Tank Davis and King Ryan Garcia? Joe Allen Boxing. Thank you so much in the chat. I just want to say thank you. And I know that, uh, you know, people want me to post when you contribute to the channel. And I do appreciate everyone that contributes to the channel because I want to acknowledge your comment. But this is something I want to point out to everybody. Thank you, Joe Allen Boxing. I appreciate your support, and you have been viewing this channel for a long time. So thank you so much, Joe. And Joe Allen Boxing says, you've been consistent on everything you said about everything. That's one of the truest statements I've heard all week. Thank you, Joe Allen Boxing. Appreciate you. And so, what is y'all take on last night? Now, somebody in the chat said that there was a question: does Garcia need a new trainer? I'm gonna tell you this because a friend of mine's, he actually made reference to this earlier in the private text message, and I'm gonna tell y'all the same thing I told him. I don't think Ryan Garcia just needs a new trainer right now. Sometimes it takes fighters several exposures with a new trainer, right? To get acclimated to the trainer's philosophy, to get acclimated to the trainer's new regimen, right? So I'm not going to just say just because he lost to a good fighter last night, he just automatically need a new trainer. I think he did a great job hiring Joe Goosen. I do have some questions that I believe need to be answered. However, I don't think he needs a new trainer. What I do think he needs is to improve on his footwork. His footwork. Now, I'm not saying Joe Goosen is not a good teacher. I'm not saying that, Joe Goosen is not a good trainer. Certain boxers mesh with certain trainers, and when the relationship or the partnership doesn't work out, it doesn't necessarily mean it's because of the trainer. Let me share this because this is how it works in boxing most of the time, and this is like according to history, right? When the trainer and fighter get together, right, and then the fighter wins, all the credit goes to the fighter. People usually don't give any credit to the trainer. But the moment that the fighter loses, the trainer gets most of the blame for it. That's usually what it be happening, you know? And so I don't think that Joe Goosen is a bad trainer, and I don't think he's a bad teacher. I think he collected a good payday. Don't ever get that twisted. This is still business now. Manager Marty tell you, it's never personal, it's not racial, it's just business. So it's just business, but at the same time, Ryan Garcia needs to improve on his footwork. He needs to improve on his defense, right? When he was standing in the pocket, I didn't see him moving his head off of the line. I didn't see that. I always tell people this. Rachel Donier was on this channel a while back when I interviewed her. If many of you were here and you remember that, that was the same night that whole situation happened. If you don't remember, that was a situation that when I was on everything Boxing's channel. Y'all remember when me and Blue Blood was going back and forth that night, but on everything Boxing's channel. And then I opened up my live. Well, anyway, it was that night. And I had Rachel Donier on the channel. I was interviewing her. It was the first time that she was on the channel as a guest. She'd been on the channel just as a supporter, just watching the content, but not as a guest. And I actually shared this with her, and I'll share it with you all if you did not recall me saying this. One of the things I look at when I watch fighters in the ring competing is their footwork. That's one of the first things I look at in every single fight. Every single professional fight, I look at the fighter's feet at all times, because that's important in boxing. A lot of people don't give credence to that unless you're in the actual sport as a participant. But look at the fighter's feet, okay? Now speaking of that, right? Ryan Garcia, if you look at his footwork, go back and look at the highlights if they have any highlights posted, right? If you look at the footwork of Ryan Garcia, he was never in position to throw multiple punches, number one, and he wasn't in the position to defend himself from counter punches. And I'm going to tell you all why. Because his lead foot, which was his left foot, it was constantly on the inside as an orthodox fighter of Tank Davis's right lead foot, which is his foot that he uses to implode his jab, okay, as a southpaw. So the southpaw stance will have the Tank Davis's right foot on the outside of Ryan Garcia's left foot. We've seen this all night long last night. All night long. And I was yelling at the TV, telling Tank Davis, and you can ask anybody that was with me. I have witnesses that were with me last night that heard me say, go to the body, because he was winning the foot position. He was winning it. Tank was. Why do you think Tank kept moving? Look at how Tank was moving. He kept moving to a certain side. Then he'd bounce over to the other side. Watch how Tank was setting him up for the left hand. When Ryan Garcia first got knocked down, I'm going to give you an example of what I'm talking about here. Remember, this channel is about, this channel is about entertainment, right? And education. When Ryan Garcia threw that lousy punch that he threw, and Tank got up under it, and remember Tank countered with that left hand and knocked Ryan Garcia down? I'm talking about the first time, right? Ryan Garcia was out of position. If he was in proper position by setting up his feet from the very beginning, he would have never got caught by that punch. He would have threw that punch differently. And he would have started doubling the jab to set up the punch. And on top of that, even after the knockdown, he wouldn't have kept following Tank instead of cutting the ring off. See, Tank was leading him over there. Tank wanted him to get to a certain position in the ring so he can throw a punch, a specific punch, and he threw it, and it landed. So it's all about having your feet placed the right way in boxing. You understand? Everything starts from the fighter's legs and feet. Everything. It don't matter how much power a boxer has. If the feet are not positioned properly, when they throw that power punch, they're not in a position to counter. They're not in a position to defend themselves, nor are they in a position to throw multiple punches. The entire night, Ryan Garcia's footwork was not on point at all. So I'm not saying he needs a new trainer or he doesn't need a new trainer. He can go get a new trainer tomorrow. If they don't work on what I'm talking about right now, it don't matter who training him in his corner, including his father. He has to work on his footwork. Your feet is going to tell me everything I need to know about you in that ring. I see what's going on. He's winning a foot battle. He's winning a foot battle. And then he kept dancing around. He kept moving around. And I know most people would say, come on, Tank, why are you doing all this moving around? You're supposed to be the Tank. You're supposed to be bullying Ryan. You're supposed to be walking him down. You're supposed to be effective in your aggression. You're supposed to be advancing him. But no, Tank was walking him into something. That's why he kept shifting on the balls of his feet, shifting to the left, Okay, then he'll stop, get his head off the line, see what he going to do, see what he going. Oh, okay, let me try to get him to go this way. Balls on his feet. Then he swiftly go to the right. You see, I'm a southpaw, so I know what he was doing, because I do the same thing. And I kept saying, go to the body, because remember, in the first round or two, Tank Davis wasn't going to the body initially. If you watch that fight again, or even a replay, I know the replay might come out next week or something. I know the Zone usually play the replay of like pay-per-views like a week later, right? I'm not sure about Showtime. I think Showtime do the same thing like a week later, right? All right. Well, if y'all are subscribed to the Zone or Showtime, go and watch the replay. Y'all see what I'm talking about? Tank was setting his punches up the whole night. You know what I mean? Ryan did not know how to get back into the foot race. Even after he got knocked down, he started to get gun shy. He started to get gun shy. You see how he stopped throwing that jab like that? Think about it. Think about it. He wasn't throwing that jab enough. After he got knocked down, he was second guessing himself. And Tank knew it. Tank knew it. Because in the first couple of rounds, Tank was moving on the balls of his feet, right? And then watching them last 3 or 4 rounds, Tank was like, all right, I see what I needed to see now. Now I'm going to start advancing him. Yeah, I'm going to move a little bit more, but I'm going to advance him more than that, too. I seen what I needed to see now. Took me 3 rounds. I see what I needed to see. So Tank Davis don't get a lot of credit for his boxing skills because he knocks most of his fighters out, particularly in the 6 rounds up. I called it that it was going to end in 8 rounds. I said 7 or 8 rounds. That's what I said. You can go back and listen to, some of the live broadcasts that I was talking last week, the week before. Go back. You'll hear me say it. You'll hear me say 7 or 8 rounds. And I kept saying this fight's not going to go past 8. But I kept saying 7 or round 8, 7 or 8, that he was going to knock him out. He was going to knock Ryan Garcia out. With that being said, in the chat, though, let me ask y'all a question. Do y'all think Ryan Garcia quit? I'm just asking a question. Y'all think he quit? Do y'all think when Ryan Garcia took that knee that he quit? Welcome to everyone. I see the new viewership that's just joining us. This is a special edition of the Roll the Tape podcast with Manager Marty. I know some of you are surprised that I'm here Sunday evening, but I thank you for your viewership. And I see the viewership. I see it. Yes, indeed. Oh, yes. I see the viewership increasing exponentially, and I'm excited about it. So I'm hearing mixed reactions here in the chat. Some people say, yes, Ryan Garcia did quit after he took the knee and realized that he got, hit in the body, or the liver, as they say, is a liver shot. Some people say, no, he did not quit. What do y'all say? I see a lot of mixed emotions. I see a lot of mixed reactions. I don't want to say emotions. That was not a perfect word. Mixed reactions. Guess who got hit with a body shot? Oscar De La Hoya. Remember when he fought Bernard Hopkins? I immediately thought about that. As soon as he took that knee, I immediately had a what do you call those things? An epiphany? Yeah, I had an epiphany of B-Hop when he hit De La Hoya. It wasn't in the same spot though. It was on the same side, but not in the same spot. But in any event, I was like, interesting. I actually think that he could have gotten up though. I believe that. When he took that knee, I think that was a very, very intelligent thing to do from a fighter standpoint, to take that knee. But I also realized if he would have gotten up and beat the count, Tank Davis was going to knock him clean out because his head was already in the air the whole fight anyway. And so by him taking that body to the liver and then having that delayed reaction, getting back up from that, remember where his body was at the time. See, I want everybody to look at the whole picture now. When Ryan Garcia took the knee, right? He was a few inches away from what? The corner. So if he would have got up and beat the count as Tank was advancing him, he would not have anywhere else to go but backwards into a corner, because I just talked about his lack of good footwork. So he wouldn't have known how to pivot out of there and realize where he was at. And that's not a good position to be in fighting a Tank Davis. Want to know why? Because we seen Leo Santa Cruz. Remember when Leo Santa Cruz had his chin in the air and he was trying to defend from the advancement of Tank Davis after he got hit? Guess what happened to him? He got caught with an uppercut and went right down in the corner right then and there. And so that's what I'm saying about Tank Davis. With Ryan Garcia after Tank Davis hit Ryan Garcia with that liver. De La Hoya say that liver. I got hit in the liver. Right? I see you, Clint Eastwood. I got your joke, and you agree. You're right. He would not have the wherewithal, especially with his lack of good footwork, to be able to stop the advancement of Tank, as we all seen that, but to pivot outside of that corner and defend himself properly, especially with his chin up in the air like that, So I do think he could have beat that count, because right after the ref said 10 and he actually stood up, if you saw the body language, which I also look at at fights as well, body language, he basically just walked straight away like nothing happened. I'm not saying he wasn't hurt, though. That's not what I'm saying. None of us can deny a person's level of pain. What I'm saying is, even if he was hurt, he did the right thing by taking the knee. I agree with that. He could have gotten up. But of course, the flip side to that coin is him getting up would have caused him to get knocked out cold, in my personal opinion. Now, he did get up, and after the ref said 10, he just walked away like basically nothing happened. And matter of fact, if you compare that to how Oscar De La Hoya got hit in the liver, Oscar De La Hoya had a totally different reaction. Even though De La Hoya fell and Ryan Garcia voluntarily took a knee, they still got hit by a body punch in the liver, right? So my point is, whether they got hit in the kidney, whether they got hit in the liver, it was a body shot, right? And their reactions were different. De La Hoya was banging on the canvas with his fists a couple of times, like he was really disappointed. And Ryan Garcia, when the referee said 10, he just got up and walked away. So I'm not saying that he wasn't hurt. I can't deny that man's level of pain. But I will say he recognized and was cognizant, if I beat this count, I don't have the confidence enough, you know what I mean, to be able to withstand whatever Tank's going to throw my way as he's advancing me. Because here's the evidence of that. See, I always look at the things that most people don't look at. And I always point it out. And that's why most of you support this channel, which I greatly appreciate. Look at Tank Davis's reaction. Go back and watch any highlight if you can find one, right? Look at when Tank Davis hit him with that left hand. When he hit him with that left hand to the body, look at Tank Davis's immediate reaction, right? Tank Davis's immediate reaction. And Ryan Garcia saw that, and that's why he took the knee. Because after the Tank hit him, go back and watch his reaction. I pay attention to small details. When Tank Davis hit Ryan Garcia, his Tank Davis' immediate reaction was, yeah, I got you. You felt that, didn't you? Yeah. That was his reaction. Look at it. Just go back and watch. And I'm saying all that to say Ryan Garcia was standing in front of him. He saw that. And he knew Tank was advancing and he was turning the air fryer up on him. And he knew, let me take this knee, man. And even if it was a delayed reaction, right? Ryan Garcia knew he hurt me. He said he hurt me. His reaction, his facial expression shows me that he hurt me. I'm gonna go ahead and take this knee. I'm gonna go ahead and take. That's my assessment from what I saw. You tell me yours in the chat, and tell me yours in the replay of the live in the comment section. If you will, comment section. If you're watching the replay of this live, I'm so excited to be here with you all this evening. I really am. It took me like 10 minutes to decide whether I was going to come on tonight. Just 10 minutes. I was like, people are not used to me coming on a Sunday night, so I don't want to, have people come on and you know what I mean. But I said, you know what? We are family. I'm going on tonight, and whoever come out, let them come. Everybody's welcome, of course. And whoever missed it or whoever had other things to do, I appreciate it anyway. You know what I mean? I always try to remain humble in things that I do. So I appreciate y'all again for coming out joining me tonight. Now, that's my assessment on the fight. Let's go to what happened after the fight. Not looking. Y'all know I'll be playing around when I say last, when I say la. I was looking, not looking, but looking. I was looking. I was looking for B-Hop, and I was looking for Joe Goosen, and I was looking for De La Hoya at the post-fight press conference. Where was they at? I trying to figure out where was they, because you know why? B-Hop touched Tank Davis and was arguing back and forth with him at the weigh-in. Cool. Oscar De La Hoya was throwing shots at Leonard Ellerbe at the press conference. Okay, cool. Joe Goosen, well, he ain't never talked no trash, but I got to throw Joe Goosen in the pot too, because you training Garcia, and you say he's the best fighter you ever trained. But where was y'all all at the post-fight press conference? Ryan Garcia, man, it looked like Ryan Garcia was there with a Grubhub delivery driver. I ain't seen nobody in his entourage. I was looking, not looking. I was looking for B-Hop. I was looking for De La Hoya, and I was looking for Joe Goosen, and I ain't find none of them yet. I'm surprised. I am shocked. I'm appalled. Salute to my guy, my family, D-Town Boxing in the chat. What up, D-Town? I look forward to seeing you Tuesday night, D-Town, because BVO gonna be here, D-Town, and so is Crown Jewel Boxing. Oh, yes. We're going to have a lovely time Tuesday night, and always good to see you, D-Town. But I'm just saying, where was B-Hop in them? All that stuff that they said. What was going on? Why didn't they show up? No, Toon, I see you. I was not at the fight. Toon asked me, Manager Marty, were you at the fight? No, I was not at the fight. But my thing is, where was they at though? Where's Bernard and them at? De La Hoya, Joe Goosen, his trainer. I'm not saying they ain't had nothing to do. But what else can you have to do when you're co-promoting the fight? It's the post-fight. Even Mayweather came. Mayweather came to the post-fight press conference. Mayweather was in the ring. I don't even think that people expected, some people, not all, but some people didn't expect Mayweather to show up, which I don't understand why not. Y'all know the man lived not too far from the arena. Of course he's going to go. He made an investment, like I told y'all when D-Town Boxing and I got together. They're not going to bring this guy, Ryan Garcia, all the way up to fight Tank Davis and not be there for Tank. They promoted Tank Davis since he was 11-0. This man is in the biggest fight of his career. And when I say biggest, I am referring to the check. I'm talking about the money. Biggest fight in Tank Davis's career, financially speaking. And you don't think that Mayweather, Ellerbe, Al Heyman, the representation, you don't think they were going to be there? Come on now. Of course. So, but my point is, though, Floyd was even at the post-fight press conference. Everybody was supposed to be there on Tank's side, but I didn't see Golden Boy representation there. I didn't see. I was looking for Eric Gomez. I didn't say Eric wasn't there, so don't quote me on that. He might have been there. I'm just saying that I was looking for the other three guys, and I guess because I ain't see them, maybe I ain't see Eric either. So I'm just saying, like, y'all gonna leave Ryan Garcia out like that as a promotion? See, here's the thing: there's nothing wrong with losing in boxing, especially if you lose to a good fighter. There's nothing wrong to lose to a good fighter. Ryan Garcia don't have nothing to hang his head down about. In fact, he didn't hang his head down. I saw Tank Davis on one video putting his phone number in Ryan Garcia's phone as they was talking, and he gave Ryan Garcia his phone back after he put his number in his phone. So they cool now. So there's nothing wrong with losing to a good fighter in boxing. So Tank Davis is a great fighter. That's facts. And Ryan Garcia will be one too if he works on those technical things, like keeping his head off the line, like working on his footwork throughout the entire duration of a fight, setting up his shots with the with the footwork before he throw the punch. These are all technical things that he can improve on. The young man is 24 years old. He got the biggest fight in his life and the biggest paycheck of his career. Why not have his promoters there in the post-fight press conference to support that young man? And I want to say this because I never said this before. I was trying to wait till after the fight, but I want to say it right now. Why it's on my mind. When the last time you seen a number one fighter under a promotional banner who comes in on a pay-per-view as the B-side? Let me reframe that by saying this. When a promoter has their number one fighter who's undefeated coming up in the ranks, usually the intentions are to make this number one fighter in the promotional stable the A side in their first pay-per-view. How come Ryan Garcia, who's the number one top fighter in Golden Boy Promotions stable, came into his first pay-per-view as the B-side? There's nothing wrong with coming into a pay-per-view as the B-side. That is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is he's 24 years old, he's undefeated, and he's never fought on pay-per-view, and he's the number one star under Golden Boy Promotions banner. I'm talking from a business standpoint. Nobody else thought about that. And if they did, they didn't publish it on YouTube, so now I'm doing it. Because I thought about that a long time ago, but I was waiting till after the fight to say it. My point is, y'all did all of that, not promoting him properly to be a pay-per-view star and capitalizing off his 9 million followers or however many million followers he got on Instagram or whatever. And then y'all not even be there for him after he lost? Where they do that at, y'all? What promotion they do that at? Even Top Rank, even Top Rank made sure Terrence Crawford got a couple pay-per-views under his belt. Right or wrong? Okay then. Okay then. Even Mayweather Promotions and them, same thing. Made sure Tank A-side his pay-per-view, and guess how many undercards Tank fought on before he had his own headline of a pay-per-view. Tank Davis fought on a lot of undercards. He fought on a couple of Adrian Broner undercards. He even fought on Mayweather's undercard when Mayweather fought Conor McGregor. And that was years ago. That was like 5, 6 years ago, something like that. My point is, Tank Davis been fighting on undercards for a while before he had his own headline. So my point is, y'all didn't even have Ryan Garcia do that. Didn't even give him his own pay-per-view as the 8th side, nor as the number one uh, fighter in the promotional stable. And then y'all ain't gonna be there for him for the post-fight press conference and all this trash y'all talk. Come on, man. I don't respect that. From a business, I'm in the business, so I think I have a right to speak on that. From a business aspect, I don't agree with that. I actually have a little problem with it, to be honest with you. That young man was up there in the post-fight press conference by himself. I got a lot of respect for Ryan Garcia. Not just for that, but because he stepped up to the plate. He stepped up to the plate. And if it wasn't for him, he shook his own promoters down. The promotion didn't want Tank to fight Ryan. De La Hoya and Golden Boy did not want Ryan Garcia to fight Tank Davis because they knew about the flaws that I'm talking about right now. But even with that, though, why didn't y'all still have him built up to be a pay-per-view star and capitalize off of his appeal to the casual fans with his following? This is good business practices I'm talking about, y'all. And then y'all not show up to the post-fight press conference? Wow. Yeah, Ryan Garcia, take Tank Davis' number down, so that young boy can teach you about the business and then send you over to Al and them. I bet you let Ryan Garcia go to Al Heyman and them. Watch how his whole career spin out of control in a good way. Cause Golden Boy I ain't see them promoting like that. Now that's just my opinion, y'all, from a business aspect. You know what I'm saying? It's okay for him to lose. It's okay. He lost to a good fighter that had more experience, that had more boxing skill, and that had more boxing pedigree than him. It's okay for Ryan Garcia to lose. He lost to a good fighter. But he can recover now. He can improve. And I think he will. And like I told my little brother, I'm not going to say little because he's grown, my younger brother earlier today, I might have said it last night when I texted him today, Ryan Garcia will be a world champion one day. And I'm standing on that because he's a good fighter. He just needs to improve on certain technical things. But he got heart. He showed he had a little heart. Even if he did take that knee and realize, nah, I'm a fall back. Because guess what? He ain't the first one to do that. You seen what Hector Garcia did in January. Hector said, no, I know what's coming when I get out this corner. Next round, I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna still go out with a little pride. Because if I go out in the next round with Tank, he probably knock me out. Because he hurt me in that last round. I'm gonna fall back. So there's nothing wrong with that. But I'm just saying he stepped up to the plate. He's going to be a world champion Ryan Garcia's going to be a world champion one day. He just got to improve on some technical things that he basically flawed in that showed last night. And so, I'm just a little disappointed from a business aspect that De La Hoya, Joe Goosen, nor Oscar De La Hoya, none of y'all was at the post-fight press conference. Y'all, what was y'all doing? Nothing should have been more important than y'all number one fighter that y'all was promoting. I got a little issue with that. I'm just saying that little bothered me last night. That bothered me last night. It certainly did. Because the young boy Ryan Garcia was up there by himself, y'all. That's what I'm saying. Tank had all his representation there. You know what I mean? Even Mayweather. You know what I mean? I'm just saying Ryan Garcia was by himself. After B-Hop done antagonized, or as he called it, instigated Tank Davis, touching him and getting smart with him and telling him, I'm about that life. You see, this is why I started my channel. This is why I be getting I get annoyed. because this is the reason why I started my channel, because I always want to point out representation. I keep telling y'all about this. I keep saying it over and over again, time and time again, that good representation in this business is priceless. I'm working on getting some merchandise out, y'all. So don't be surprised when you see shirts and all the hats and all that say that. That's my quote. I've been saying that since I've been on here. Good representation in this business is priceless. Ryan Garcia shook his representation and told them, I want Tank. And even, as they always say, he gave into a lot of concessions. Okay, so that means the young bull got more heart than his promoters. If he took the initiative to tell his promoter, I want Tank. I want Tank Davis. I want Tank Davis. And then he forced De La Hoya and them to do that. Give him Tank Davis. All right, well, there's some concessions in the contract. I'll take it. I might not agree with the rehydration. I don't agree, but I'm going to take it anyway. Ryan Garcia did that, y'all. And he stepped in the ring and he made something happen. And he caught Tank with some good shots too now. He did. And if his footwork was better, we would have probably seen a more entertaining fight, even if Tank would have knocked him out. Because we know Ryan Garcia don't have no good chin like that. We knew that. We knew that before this fight happened. Most of us knew that already. But the young boy went in there and he showed heart. And so what I'm saying is Ryan Garcia has nothing to hang his head down about. And even at the post-fight press conference, and even when he interviewed in the ring after the fight, he didn't hold his head down low. He had his head up in the air. Much respect I give to Ryan Garcia. Now I'm off of that because that's gonna keep making me like, you know what I mean? Because I'm in this business, and this is one of the reasons why I'm in the business, to protect the interests of the fighters. And I don't want to keep harping on that. I get an attitude, you know what I mean? I ain't gonna get emotional. Y'all know I'm not getting emotional, but it bothers me though. I'm gonna keep it 100. I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. That bothered me when I'm like, Dad, not even one of y'all, not even one of y'all's here with this young guy. This is first loss, y'all. Y'all know when a fighter lose the first time, you know, it does something to these fighters. It can break their confidence. Some people don't return after a first. Look at when Hagler fought her when Marvin Hagler fought Sugar Ray Leonard and he lost. The man, God rest his soul, the man never fought again. And that was a close fight. But my point is the man never fought professionally again. Sometimes it happens like that when fighters take their first loss. That's when fighters need more support. Not when everything's going right for the fighter. Everybody want to be hanger-ons. Everybody want to jump on the fighter's bandwagon when they knocking everybody out or when they're winning. But when that fighter take their first loss, now they got to see who's really for them. And it bothered me when I saw the young man take his first loss and his representation wasn't there for him. And I'm going to stop talking about it before I get a little attitude. But that right there was not cool. Now, there's a judge over 200 plus world championship fights. This man is a Hall of Fame professional boxing judge. In fact, I respect him a lot. On the East Coast here, he represents New Jersey, by the way. On the East Coast here, in the sport of boxing, when it comes to professional boxing judges, and you could take the words I'm about to tell you to a bank and cash these words. They refer to this man that's on your screen, that's in my contact list. That's a screenshot of my phone, so you can see that. They refer to him as the gold standard in professional boxing judging, Steve Weisfeld. You've heard his name many times. Many times. I'm going back even in the 90s, you heard his name. 2000s, you heard his name. Gold standard in boxing. Now, why am I bringing him up? That's because I called him earlier. I called him earlier. I did. I called his phone earlier. I think, don't quote me on this, I think he may have been on a plane because it is a 5-hour travel from Vegas back to here in Jersey on the East Coast. But even if he wasn't, he was unavailable. But he'll call me back. Like I called him, I think I called him like a month and a half ago. Me and was talking on the phone. I called him, and he was tied up. He texted me and said, "I'll call you right back," and he called me right back. He might not call me back tonight, but by Tuesday, hopefully I get a chance to talk to him, and then I render a couple of pieces of the conversation with me and him on Tuesday night. But you see his name on the bottom of your screen on the third scorecard. If you're following my screen and you're following your screen from left to right, you see Tim Cheatham, first scorecard. You see Dave Moretti, second scorecard. And then you see Steve Weisfeld's scorecard on your screen. These are the official scorecards from last night's main event fight between Gervonta Tank Davis versus Ryan Garcia. Now, I want to point something out because I always look to make teachable moments out of things that I share on this channel. And I'm going to do it right now. Remember, I told y'all a long time ago, if you are a part of the Roll the Tape Film Crew membership, you understand exactly what I'm talking about. If you are a long time viewer on this channel, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Y'all remember when I told you all when the judges have their scorecards? Because I was coming from a place of judging like I do in the amateurs. Well, on the judges' scorecards, I told y'all that yes, it has the fighters' names on the scorecards, but it always identified the fighters based on the corners they're in. Remember, I was teaching y'all about that? Some of y'all remember that? Oh, okay, some of y'all might not remember that, but let me go a step further to refresh your memory if you don't remember. Remember, I told you all when I was educating you all on red corner, blue corner, and I was talking about how the inspectors of the commission of that state, after they inspected gloves of the boxers in the dressing room, remember I told you they put the red tape most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time, they put the red tape on the wrist of the glove of the fighter that's going to be in the red corner, and they do the same for the fighter that's going to be in the blue corner. Remember I told you that? Remember that? Well, look at the judges' scorecards because this is what I was trying to say then about the fact that that's how the judges score the rounds by identifying each fighter by blue and or red. And if you look on your screen, you will see the letter B under the next to the word corner under Gervonta Tank Davis's name, and then under Ryan Garcia's name, you see the letter R for red next to the word corner. You see that? Okay. Now that we got that out the way, this is what I was trying to. So I'm just basically refreshing the memories of those people, all of you, who recall me educating you on the red tape on a boxer's wrist of their glove and the blue tape on a boxer's wrist of their gloves. This is how the judges identify the fighters, okay? Blue corner, red corner. Now that we got that out the way, I have some issues here with these scorecards. I do. I really, really do. Let's go to round two first. We're just gonna start at round two. I won't hold you all too long tonight because this is a special edition. Special edition. But I just wanted to discuss this real quick. Let's look at the scorecards here. We can all examine them together. Look at round two. On Tim's card, Dave Moretti's card, and Steve's card. Just look at round two. You see where it says one in the middle of your screen. You see where it says one, then two, then three, all the way to 12? Those identify the rounds. I think everyone on here can see that. Now, of course, you see on the second round. Let's just look at this now. Let's examine this together. We don't want any misunderstandings here. Okay? And that's one of the things I want to ask Mr. Steve Weisfeld when I talk to him. Now, let's look at round number two. Let's start there first. Tank Davis is on the left side in the blue corner, all those scores. And then Ryan Garcia, King Ryan Garcia, is on the right side, identified in all of those scores. Now look at the second round here. Let's start with the first judge, Tim Cheatham's scorecard. He said that Tank Davis won the second round 10-9, right? Right? Okay, cool. Dave Moretti, second judge, right in the middle. Let's look at his scorecards. Second round, he says Tank Davis won 10-10. Well, wait a minute. Tank Davis didn't win that round. That looked like a tie to me. 10-10 is a tie. Okay, cool. Let's look at Steve Weisfeld's scorecards. Second round, y'all. 10 for Davis, 9 for Garcia. Why am I bringing up the second round? You already know. Why I'm bringing the second round up, right? Because the second round was the round where the first knockdown occurred when Tank Davis hit Ryan Garcia with the left hook from a counterpunch. Now, we all know that in boxing, we're operating on a 10-point must system. We know that. So a winner have to be identified by the judges scoring that round for the winner by identifying the number 10, right? But we also realize that when a fighter is knocked down, the fighter who knocks the other fighter down automatically doesn't receive any more points. Let's get that clear. It's a 10-point must system. However, to the contrary, the fighter who gets knocked down loses an extra point. Now, what that states is that since Gervonta Davis knocked Ryan Garcia down in the second round, naturally speaking, the round should be scored 10-8, right? Okay. Now that we got that out of the way, let me interpret as a judge now what these scorecards reflect to me as an experienced judge. And let me just point this out so that you all know. Tim Cheatham, Dave Moretti, and Steve Weisfeld, they came through the amateur boxing program before they became professional judges, just like the referees do, just like I would do if I wanted to become a judge right now. I probably could because of my extensive experience in judging in the amateurs. We all go through just like Floyd Mayweather, Mike Tyson, any fighter you name that's professional, they all came through the same USA Boxing amateur program as fighters, as judges, as referees, etc. Now let's move forward. Let me tell you what that interprets to me. What these scorecards reflect and interpret to me is that Ryan Garcia really was winning the round. But because the knockdown happened, Ryan Garcia is going to lose a point on 2 out of the 3 judges' scorecards. What do I mean by that? I mean that in the beginning of the round, the first 1 minute of the round, number 2, Ryan Garcia was winning 10-9. This is how it's being interpreted now. But then he got knocked down. So because he got knocked down, he now will lose a point. You see what I'm saying? He will now lose a point, meaning that he will now receive 9 points instead of 10 because he got knocked down. That's what these scorecards reflect. Now, here's the thing. So Ryan Garcia, according to their scorecards, Ryan Garcia was winning the round. You see? Before he got knocked down, he was winning the round. This is what I'm interpreting to all of you viewers so you can understand what you're looking at now. In round number 2, he was winning the round before he got knocked down. So the question becomes, after Ryan Garcia gets knocked down, who was winning the round when he got up? Tell me in the chat right now. If you're watching the replay of this live, tell me in the comment section below. Let me ask the question again as the viewership is increasing exponentially. Ryan Garcia was winning the round according to these scorecards that I am interpreting right now. As a person experienced with judging fights, Ryan Garcia was winning the round before he got knocked down. Tank Davis knocks Ryan Garcia down. The question becomes, when Ryan Garcia got up after getting knocked down, I'm asking you all in the chat right now. I'm asking you all in the comment section below. Who do y'all think was winning the round after Ryan Garcia got up after being knocked down? Who y'all think was winning the round? I'm talking about after the knockdown occurred. At this point, both fighters are tied right now. They're tied, according to these scorecards in the second round. So I got 3 people in the chat that said Tank was winning. After Ryan Garcia got knocked down and he got up, 4 people in the chat. He got up. Now, after he got up now, who was winning the round? 5 people says Tank. 1 person says Ryan. This is not a rhetorical question. This is a legitimate question I'm asking all of you. There's a reason why I'm going down this road. Who was winning the round? That's the question that I have. Tank. Okay. So if Tank was winning the round, then that means because he was winning the round, I'm talking about Tank Davis. Because Tank Davis was winning the round, Tank Davis should have been awarded the round. He should have been awarded the round 10-8 because he was winning the round even after the knockdown. You see where I'm going with that? So even if Ryan Garcia won the first minute, right, of the round, the moment he gets knocked down, that obliterates anything that he does, period, because he got knocked down. So if he gets knocked down, he will lose 1 point. So if he was winning the round and then he won the round after he got up, that's a totally different story. We'll be having a totally different conversation because we would say we agree with the second round of these scorecards. So my question becomes, if that is the case in what I'm saying, why did Dave Moretti choose to score it around 10-10? If what I'm saying is right, why would a judge score around 10-10 as if it was a tie when the young man got knocked down? Okay, no problem. Okay, now let's go to round number 3. Round number 3. First judge calls it 10 for Tank, 9 for Garcia. Second judge calls it 9 for Tank and 10 for Garcia. Third judge has it 10 for Davis and then 9 for Garcia. Okay. All right. Picture right there. So both the other 2 judges saw that Tank won the third round. All the judges had it the same after that, except for the 6th round, because 2 judges, the one in the middle, Dave Moretti and Steve Weisfeld, they both gave the 6th round to Tank, scoring it 10-9. But the first judge gave that 6th round to Ryan Garcia. I'm not saying that all of the scorecards should be identical, because there's a reason why scorecards are not identical, and one of the main reasons, which all of us know this already, is because the judges are coming from 3 distinctive vantage points. Why? Because they are sitting in 3 different locations around the ring, which we call in the business the field of play. The field of play. That's what we call it. So, with that being said, they're supposed to have different vantage points as long as they're using the scoring criteria effectively as judges. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, but it also goes on YouTube. Let me say it again. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, but is always going to be shown on YouTube. Ryan Garcia did pretty well in the first round, under my estimation. He did pretty good in the first round, right? But look at the middle judge's scorecard, Dave Moretti. He scored it for Tank in the first round. The other 2 judges scored it for Ryan Garcia. I didn't see Tank land too many punches in the first round, me personally speaking. So I definitely had Ryan winning that first round. Basically, what I'm just saying is all three of the scorecards are different. Of course, in my personal estimation, it seems like Steve Weisfeld got it right more consistently and more accurately than the other 2. That's just my personal opinion. But I'm just saying, like, we all saw who won the first round. Very decisive. We all knew what the scorecard should have been in the second round. Very decisive. And then in the 6th round, we all know who won the 6th round. Very decisively. So these 3 rounds, round 1, round 2, and round 6, on the 3 judges' scorecards, looking at it overall, we need answers. We need answers. So tune in this Tuesday night, because I'm going to talk to Steve Weisfeld myself. Hopefully he calls me back, which he usually does. And I am going to not question him like I'm questioning his credentials, because I definitely would never do that. But I just have some questions that I'm sure he'd be willing to answer as a professional judge, And based on his pedigree as a Hall of Famer and as a good person, he's actually a good guy, actually, too, as well. So tune in Tuesday night, live and on Living Color, right here on an official episode of Roll the Tape Podcast with Manager Marty, because I'm going to give the verdict and some brief dialogue that I'm going to have with the man, Steve Weisfeld himself, a good man, great man in boxing, professional judge. And also, we're going to pick up where we left off on Friday night with BVO Boxing, Crown Jewel Boxing, and my guy, D-Town Boxing, as they come back onto the platform, back on the podcast as panelists to be able to say what they need to say about the outcome of this fight. I look forward to seeing each and every last one of you live in living color here on Tuesday evening on the Roll the Tape Podcast with Manager Marty. Salute to everyone in the chat. Thank you for your viewership on this special edition. We're going to call this the Sunday night edition. And I look forward once again to seeing you all come right back here on Tuesday night. We're going to have a great lineup, a great panel. I'm going to recap a conversation I'm going to have with Steve Weisfeld. And this is going to be an awesome broadcast Tuesday. God willing, I look forward to seeing you all. From my family and home to yours, I'm Manager Marty. Till next time.